Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dragon Ball Super final episode review, episode 131. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great night. Hope you guys have actually seen the episode already, which I'm pretty sure you already have at this point. Now, honestly, it's a funny feeling. It's crazy to think that it's been roughly 3 years since Super started airing. I mean, overall, the whole Super section of the franchise isn't over yet, but for now, or at least until for, I guess, notification or notice rather. Yes, the TV anime is over. And I must say, my first impressions coming off this episode, which is basically what I almost always say about coming off these episodes, is that I actually love this episode. I know I haven't gotten to the objective part of this review yet, but I'm just giving my first impressions. I definitely love the episode. There's always this, I guess, sentimental feeling, I guess, when it comes on to the end of Dragon Ball TV animes or anything Dragon Ball, when it comes to some finale at certain parts of the franchise. I mean, at the end of Dragon Ball, the end of Z, and especially the end of GT, as much flack as GT gets, the ending is something that's universally praised, I think. But even Super's ending was, I thought it was decent. But let's get right into it. Sorry for kind of wasting almost 2 minutes of your time there, people. So, episode 131. I think going into it, one of the biggest concerns of not only me, but I think majority of people would have had is the pacing, because at the end of 130 there were so many things that needed to be resolved in our heads, like the fight with Jiren, the wish, how is it going to end itself, how is it going to tie into the movie coming up, what's gonna happen, so stuff like that. And for what we got, even though I felt it was rushed, I thought it wasn't as rushed as I expected it to be. I know I compared, in a video earlier this week, I did some comparison, not specifically what the video was about, but I did mention that I did review Samurai Jack, the final episode, and that was rushed. This wasn't as bad as Samurai Jack's finale, so I thought the pacing for what it's worth was actually decent. In terms of characterization in this episode and development, funny enough, Jiren's character continues to somewhat evolve by the end of this episode. As you know, we see him, I know it's kind of the cliche shonen trope, the power of friendship, which in this episode. But yeah, by the end, Jiren seems to have finally moved past his past. He's no longer bounded by it, which actually felt a bit refreshing to see towards the end. And it's going to be interesting to see where the franchise takes Jiren's character in the future. I know Jiren's character and his backstory wasn't handled, great to say the least, but honestly, Jiren is slowly becoming, I think, one of the better characters in this series, honestly. And I mean, they've handled this characterization kind of flip-flop throughout this whole arc. Like, I was literally watching with a group of friends and, well, floor mates, but yeah. And someone commented, someone who hasn't actually reached to this point, they're actually still early in the tournament, they were asking how Jiren was speaking so much. And I just found it funny because I was thinking in my head, oh man, he realizes it, that his Jiren's characterization has changed. So that's interesting. But I think ending on Super, they've kind of established a solid footing in terms of where to push Jiren's character, depending on where the Super part of this franchise goes. Now, I will say that the choreography in this episode and the anime, considering that Yuya Takahashi was on this episode was definitely A+ when it comes on to choreography. Goku and Frieza working together is like something that you wouldn't really expect to see happen like any at all. Like it's refreshing to actually see them work together towards the end, and it kind of felt like one big reference with Goku even pulling off the regular Super Saiyan form with Frieza to push out Jiren out of the ring. So that was interesting. Of course, even towards the end when it comes on to references with Goku and Vegeta at the end, that was cool as well. Wait, hold on, give me a sec. Yeah, sorry about that, people. So, I've been praising this episode, but honestly, let's get on to the negatives. So, first things first. I don't know why I should be surprised at this point, honestly, but it was a concern of mine. But Goku getting back up once more. Yeah, that's bullshit. Complete bullshit. I know that, as I said in which video did I do this week? Yeah, it was my discussion on the preview for 131 that it's the last episode and it's only natural that they'll have Goku do something, but the fact that they've been saying it for the longest while he should be out of stamina, and then, you know, this plus the fact that the whole, I guess, recoil from using Ultra Instinct, you'd think he'd be out of this completely, and for him to show up and make a difference to the point of preventing Jiren's blast from ringing out 17 and Frieza and nullifying it by working together with them, yeah, that's doesn't make any sense, honestly. As I said, I have praised the choreography. For as good as it was, it still didn't make any sense. I did also mention in that same video I just referenced that even Frieza and 17 taking on Jiren at this point, at first it made sense because you'd expect Jiren to be weakened from his fight with Ultra Instinct Goku, but the fact that Jiren even found some extra power, which I guess they may be trying to imply that it was only temporary, and then that's why Goku, after they nullified his blast, they could take him on in hand to hand. But even so, I mean, just the fact that Goku's up is the main problem, really. Goku, doesn't make any sense. Of course, I will also have to address the predictable outcome of the tournament with well, I didn't expect 17 to win, but which is another kettle of fish. But 17 wishing back the universes, I can see what they're going for. But everybody predicted that Universe 7 would wish back all the other universes. Granted, it's predictable. It was predictable, but I feel it's the best course of action because you have a lot of these characters. Well, honestly, plain and simple, marketing. There's no other reason from that, because if you have all these characters, it would be a complete waste to just completely rid them out of the franchise permanently. So that's really and truly the what it boils down to at the end of the day, where all these other characters are concerned. But it's just funny that it was so predictable. At first I was saying that it really and truly made this whole arc pointless because they brought it back, but I realized they tried to damage control things by the end by having the gods, the Grand Priest and Zeno basically saying that they expected this to happen, and it kind of came off to me as the Grand Priest saying that this whole tournament was a test for the mortals, essentially, because if any selfish wish was made in the end, all the universes would have been wiped off, even the winner of the tournament. So it seemed to have been a test to see, to test mortals, and it kind of makes me think if Zamasu and everything that happened in the Future Trunks arc was an influence for that at the end of the day. It's just something to think about based on the fact that this whole tournament was just a test by Zeno, really. And as Toriyama would have pointed out in an interview, it does seem like further stories and adventures are being set up. So there's that. But yes, the theme of change is something that's really echoed in this episode, from even 17's dialogue to saying, he thinks Universe 7 has a effect on him, to Jiren by the end, which is definitely a good tidbit. Frieza's revived, so there's definitely that as well to talk about. I know it was a major concern for Frieza becoming one of the quote unquote good guys, but Frieza seems still, on his evil path, so to speak, or for lack of better phrasing, which is always a plus because Frieza changing character would be. I think Frieza should be that one character Goku fought that doesn't need to necessarily change. He just necessarily needs to be probably that guy that helps out for the greater good, or the greater just for survival of the universe at the end of the day, really. He doesn't need to become good, but if there's a threat that, basically the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation, I can see Frieza jumping into a fight with Goku then and there. But it was definitely cool to see him and Goku work together at the end of the day. Of course, by the end, Goku mentions that he wants to see Jiren again. And Jiren, as I said, he by the end, he gets some decent development, I'd say. And we have the fighters going back to Earth. And just going back to their daily lives. And of course, as I mentioned, the reference at the end with Goku and Vegeta, and even the dialogue by the end between Goku and Vegeta, it's basically even a nod to the movie Saiyans Have No Limits. So I guess it's a little throwaway line to, hint at, to, look forward to the movie. But all in all, I thought it was a good episode. It wasn't as rushed as I thought. Characterization for Jiren was pretty decent in this episode. I think it's come full circle from the flip-flop execution of his characterization. I think it's come full circle, and they have a solid footing in terms of where to push the character to in the future's franchise. So there's definitely that. The art, animation, and choreography of the fight itself, or the remaining parts of the fight, was basically top notch. I'm not gonna lie. Predictable ending, but they try to damage control it, and naturally, from a business standpoint, it wouldn't have made sense to keep the erased universes erased. So I guess you could put that as a somewhat of a plus, or you could put that in that gray area. I guess. Of course, negatives being Goku actually having enough energy this time. I know they tried to make a visual representation that he was out of energy, but the fact that he couldn't even maintain regular Super Saiyan like consistently throughout the episode. So I guess I could give them some plus for that. But all in all, I think it waters down to a 7 out of 10 for the episode. Yeah, I think a 7 out of 10 is a fair. The lowest I'd go is definitely a 6. All in all, I must say it's been fun watching Super. It wasn't really it didn't live up to the legacy of Z and original Dragon Ball. Well, yeah, just original Dragon Ball on the whole. It's really all not that good objectively speaking, but I think at the end of the day, the stupid writing, the inconsistencies, this dumbass power scaling, at the core of it, Super has captured the spirit of Dragon Ball, and that's just, entertaining martial arts journey. Well, probably not even martial arts, but it's a fun ride, essentially. It was fun. It was fun to watch. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought about the episode and how you guys feel about the ending of Super. As I said, I enjoyed it. It's at most a 7, as I said, at least a 6, probably a 6.5. Or probably, you know what, final rating, I'll give it a 7. It's a 7 for me. In terms of what happens with the channel now, even though I have talked about this already, in regards to future content, well, Dragon Ball content, since the anime is done now, Of course, I will be covering news and stuff where the movie is concerned. I'll still be reviewing the manga, so there won't be any real shortage of Dragon Ball content. Probably not as often like every week, but I'll still try to come up with something to discuss every week. So yeah, there's definitely that. Of course, I will be branching on into other stuff as well, so stay tuned. As I mentioned before, this channel is just a hobby for me, really, just an outlet to just talk about stuff, really. So yeah. But anyway, Sanjay Uchiha, rate, comment, subscribe. It's been a fun ride, people. Dragon Ball Super is done. Well, for now. See you guys in the next one. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to mention. One additional positive for the episode. The fact that by the end, Goku mentioning that when Vegeta asks Goku about Ultra Instinct and Goku mentioned that he can't go into it at will, that's a plus. That's definitely a plus. It leaves room for Goku to actually grow. Even though it was kind of established, well, kinda, at the end of 130 by him not being able to stay in it for a long period of time. But it kind of feels like gives more credit to my little theory that we'll probably see Ultra Instinct again in the upcoming movie. So there's that. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But yeah, so see you for you again. Oh, this time. Yeah.